So, welcome again to another Darker Days podcast video review. And this time we are going to look at Iron Kingdoms, the full metal fantasy roleplay game by Privateer Press. So we've had this for a while. It's been out for maybe 6 months, maybe a bit more actually. And this is the book. It's a very big book. It's very pretty. There we go, with the Privateer Press logo. And as you can see, it has excellent artwork. It's full colour, hardback book. It's very, very thick. And if we turn it on its side, we can see that it's quite thick. It's about 400 odd pages. And all those pages are full colour and nice and glossy. So, if we open up the book, what do we have inside? We have some nice designs, patterns, and excellent new artwork. And there's a lot in this book that describes the world of Iron Kingdoms and of Western Amoran magic, how we make characters, the gear, mechanica, and alchemy of the world, steam jacks, which are a key feature of the game, and of course its rules and some stuff on like monsters, gameplay tools, and games mastery. So the world of Western Amoran is quite big. There are numerous kingdoms. There's 4 main ones: Kador and Signar, the Protectorate of Benoth, and the Dark Kingdom, the islands of Crix. And of course there are a few other places where other races live, like elves and of course the dwarves. So there's quite a large area to set your games in, and numerous different character types you can play as. You can play as humans from any of those kingdoms, or you could play easily as a dwarf or one of the 2 main elven races, or you could play as something like a trollkin or even one of the Ogrin. So there's a lot of content in here that's been brought together from various previous Iron Kingdoms roleplay game books back when it was a D20 game, and of course from the War Machine and Hordes rulebooks. So we have this rather extensive background and history to the world and what the kingdoms are and who the people that live there and the languages and their religions, such as Menoth, Morrow, Thamar, the Devourer cults, and of course we can play as quite a huge host of different character types. So of course, as I said, there are a number of races you can play. You can even play as trolls. And of course they have different stats and different abilities. You have careers, and they give you different starting abilities, spells, and equipment, and assets, and they also give you a progression that you can go through as your character becomes experienced. Gun mages, of course, are one of the careers you can play as, and they're pretty cool. Of course, when you choose careers for your characters, you get to choose 2 when you start out, which means you can choose different careers that give good synergy, or you can choose similar careers that give a very focused look at your character. And of course the rules for Iron Kingdoms are expanded upon from the main war games of War Machine and Hordes. So again, it's a 2d6 based system where you roll it and add your stats, and you've got to beat a target number. Of course you can boost your rolls, and that means the rules to this game are very familiar if you play War Machine and Hordes. It suggests that you make use of miniatures, and I have to say that using miniatures in the game is quite a satisfying thing. I haven't used miniatures in a roleplay game for a very, very long time, and considering the game is quite fast and furious with the combat system, then, it's fairly easy. Of course, there are many, many spells in the game for different types of sorcerers, warcasters, and more books add more spells. So if we look at some other stuff that's come out since the main core book was released, we have, of course, the Games Master's Toolkit. So this is a thick cardboard laminated storyteller screen. And of course on the inside there are plenty of tables and get you by rules. These cover things like combat, how you get back feat points. Feat points are kind of like bennies that you can use in the game. And of course there are some typical tables you'll use in the game, like medicine, climbing, sneak, forensic science. Of course, on the other side, we have some typically excellent artwork from Iron Kingdoms. And it's no surprise that they have great artwork for this game, because Privateer Press has like 10 years worth of both Iron Kingdoms, War Machine and Horde's artwork to draw upon. Now, the storyteller screen isn't the only thing you get in the kit. You get these nice laminated cards, which are health trackers for Steamjacks and for your main characters. And they are laminated, meaning you can use a water-soluble OHP pen or even a dry white marker. You get 10 of those health trackers, and you also get 10 of these other cards, which are initiative trackers. So what you get there is just a place to write down all your key stats and your initiative for combat, and so you can note down modifiers that occur to your character through combat, such as initiative, or strength, or your perception, or your willpower, etc., etc. And that's really useful to have as a quick way to refer to your character's stat lines, and also means you can modify it without having to continually scrub on the character sheet. The character sheet comes as a pad. You get 25 of these, full colour, double-sided, and they list everything. And it means there's a quick reference to skills, stats, weaponry, spells, gear, equipment, armour, languages, the whole works. And of course you can print these off on the Privateer Press website. And then there is one other pad that you get, again 25 sheets, double-sided, and this is Games Master story encounter sheets. What they allow you to list is quick stats and information for creatures, whether they have life spirals or just normal vitals. Able to list their status effects and so forth. So you can have all your characters, NPCs, creatures as quick reference. And of course on the back of the sheet there is even more. Because you were thinking, well, where do we keep our information for Steamjacks? Well, there it is. So if your character is a Warcaster or Arcane Mechanic, and they have a Steamjack to use, this is where you would keep that information. And again, it has as a quick reference the different attacks that Steamjacks can do. The next book we're going to look at is the first proper book out for Iron Kingdoms, and this is No Quarter Presents Urban Adventures. And you get in here some interesting chapters. So a number of races in Iron Kingdoms are non-human, and so this details careers that are specific to them, so that are more suitable for them living in urban human cities. There's also new gear, new combat tricks, new labourjacks, information about one of the key cities of the setting, Five Fingers. It's basically Tortuga. It's a pirate city. It's great. And you also get these sample encounters, a new career, the Servants of Thamar, and some more information about crime and an adventure to even play through. So, as you can see, new Ogren, new Gobber careers, new skills, new equipment. So there's even unarmed combat techniques or new armed techniques. So there's things like fish hooking, foot stomp, eye gouge, half sword, pistol whips, which really just adds some extra characterful ways of maiming your opponents. Labourjacks really covers more information for jacks and information like equipment that could be used as weaponry, non-standard weapons, information about the city of Five Fingers, each of the islands and how they're distributed, and the districts that make up each of the islands. And then you get these encounters, and the encounters are interesting because they can be full stories or even just small scenes. And each encounter has some important information that makes it suitable for playing through. So, as we see, encounters have encounter points. So you get the idea of how difficult the encounter is for a hero level group of characters, or a more elite group, a more experienced veteran group of player characters. And that means you can really tailor scenarios to suit your players. Of course, the scenarios have lots of NPCs and creatures that are ready to use, which is great because this book then means you've got more creatures to use in any encounter of your own creation. So there's things like an encounter with gator men, an encounter with these skigs which blow up, encounters with various creatures and various people. And of course, the new career in there is samurites. And samurites have new skills, new powers, new abilities, mainly to do with necromancy. And of course, there's rules on how a samurai would go about making undead minions. And you can even have player characters playing as a samurai cult, which is kind of cool. And then we get a bit about crime and smuggling in the Iron Kingdoms. And we get this encounter. So it really sets the idea that you can play as a group of characters that are into crime or fighting it, and really gives you an idea of what the cities of the Iron Kingdoms are like. And we're going to just briefly talk about No Quarter magazine. So No Quarter comes out every 2 months and is Proto Press's own gaming magazine, so it contains information for Iron Kingdoms roleplay game, Hordes, and War Machine. So it's not all Iron Kingdoms content. There's maybe about 10, 15, 20 pages worth of new rules, new equipment, scenarios, but there's other in-game text, so like stories or artifacts that you could actually use in your roleplay game. And of course, they've been presented there as just cool setting information for any of the games. You can expect it to be a nice glossy magazine, and there are plenty of pictures, artwork, new scenarios. There's also information on community news, so if there's any kind of like competitions going on or conventions. Miniatures out, like trolls, being painted them. Ooh, Ogren or a Wartborn Alpha. So these are all kind of miniatures you can add into your roleplay game if you want. Huge monsters. And you get nice previews. Now, the previews are kind of cool because they basically showcase the rules for a new creature or a new monster or a new steamjack or character that's going to be introduced into one of the games. And you think, well, how do I use this? Well, you get to look at their stats. And the thing with those stats is, with a bit of modification, you could easily dump that into your roleplay game, even though it's originally designed for, say, Hordes, like this guy is. Though it'd be insane to dump a Scorn War Mammoth, Gargantuan, into the Iron Kingdoms roleplay game against your players, unless they were, say, epic level. So, there's quite a lot of content in every copy of No Quarter. Even though it may not say it's for Iron Kingdoms, it's all very, very useful. So what can we say after 6 months of releases from Iron Kingdoms? There's a lot out there to use. This is not the end of it. There is lots of free material online to download from Proto Press, an expanded bestiary, even more scenarios, even more skills, even more careers that are available to download for free. So if you enjoy this, that's it. Bye.